So, guys, let's have a little talk on how to boost testosterone levels naturally. So, what is it that you can do to boost your levels of testosterone naturally? Now, according to the discussion we had previously, you now know what can lower the levels of testosterone. So for you to boost the levels of testosterone naturally is simply doing the correct things that you're supposed to. Let's start with sleep. Number one is sleep. You must sleep enough. That means you must get enough rest. Low levels of sleep, no sleep at all, low levels of testosterone. They go hand in hand. So sleep is one of the things that you must ensure that you do. As a sprinter, definitely, I do expect you train very well. You do your gym. You also go to the track, you do your morning run, you do your hill walks. Very, very important. That is number two. Exercise and training. Training, number two. Number three, diet. So what is it in diet that you're supposed to do? So if you take these things, they will help you build your levels of testosterone. Now, let's go back a little bit. I did tell you that testosterone is a hormone. And being a hormone, there are precursors that help build hormones. And one of these precursors is normally cholesterol. So you need a very good balance of cholesterol for you to be able to start producing, or for your production of testosterone to be very stable. So there is a type of cholesterol that you can take which is good for you. So the precursors, the building blocks of testosterone is a type of fats. So testosterone is a steroid. Don't forget that. I have always mentioned it is a steroid. It is produced naturally in the Leydig cells of the body, of the testicles. So here's the thing. If you take these things, your testosterone will build up naturally. One of the things that you need very, very much is zinc. So where do you get zinc from? Zinc, you get it probably from different types of fish. Oyster being number one. Number one content of zinc, oysters. Very, very, very high levels of zinc. We have other types of fish that you can also take. They are good. You can do a research on that. For example, fatty fish. This is what we call fatty types of fish. They're usually very, very good. Proteins, for example, pork. Okay, it's always very good. Eggs. You can also take eggs in that case. It will also assist you in building up your testosterone levels in terms of zinc. But the most important thing for you to understand is oyster fish is very, very high in zinc. So you need zinc for you to build your testosterone levels very, very well. Now, proteins, you need your proteins. I've started with pork. You can do beef, you can do eggs, all types. The only proteins I will actually caution you is proteins that come from cereals, like the soy cereals. Any soy product, that one, it's a no-go zone. Remember, I told you they are phytoestrogen. So that means they contain a lot of estrogen in them. And if you take estrogen, you're going to lower the level of testosterone. So anything that has soy, any soy product, avoid it as much as possible. There are other things that when you take also, they will also help you so much when it comes to the production of testosterone. We also call them, it's like motivators of you to help in your body. We call them flavonoids. Flavonoids, for example, onions, garlic, turmeric, ginseng, you know, these things are very, 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 very important to you, including hot pepper sometimes, not always, but sometimes. So garlic, onion, turmeric, ginseng, you know, they are very, very good. Now, the other thing that you must put in your diet is leafy greens. Leafy greens include what? Spinach, yeah, kale, kale is sukuma wiki, kale. They will assist you. Spinach, kale, and other kienyeji, that include the ones you know, always take them because they're very important when it comes to minerals. Minerals, for example, like zinc and magnesium, and as well as vitamins. Vitamin D, very, very important. You'll get it from these leafy greens, as well as also when training, the morning sun can also be able to give you a little bit of this vitamin D. So magnesium and zinc will always be found from these leafy greens. Now you also need your fruits in place. Make sure you have your bananas, you have your what we call watermelon. Watermelon, very high also levels in zinc in watermelon. Now, so when it comes to the cholesterol, where do you get them from? Nuts, jugu karanga, very very key. When it gives the cholesterol that is needed for you to create the testosterones. So always take your nuts with you. It's always good, but don't overdo. These things have to be taken in good levels. Now, the other thing before I forget is, you remember me saying that taking too much carbs are very keen. Carbs are things like starch. This is ugali, rice, cake, bread, and all this. I always say that you can limit. Don't overdo carbs because you produce a lot of insulin, and in the process, insulin is going to lower the levels of testosterone's production. So when you are taking your glucose or your carbohydrates, make sure it is to the extent where you can utilize the energy. It's not going to be converted in such a way that it's going to be stored, or it's going to make an influx of insulin be high. So you must make sure the insulin that is being produced in your body is under control. So don't consume too much carbs. And if you have to consume, we shall have a discussion on carbohydrates to know exactly what carbohydrates are good for you, because not all carbohydrates are good. There are different types of carbohydrates that you can consume, but consume your carbohydrates for energy levels, but do not overconsume carbohydrates. Very, very key. Now, I always say that if you have any levels of stress because of cortisol, make sure it's also controlled. So stress is one thing that you need to understand, must be controlled, because if you produce cortisol, then testosterone will drop down. Make sure, the other thing we've said, you sleep enough. You have enough amounts of sleep. So in terms of diet, I've been very, very keen. I have told you we have proteins, we have zinc, we have minerals like magnesium, we have vitamin D. You need vitamin D. I've also said you need leafy greens, and I've said you can take your eggs, you can take your fish, fat